Child abuse is a pervasive and disturbing problem in India, with millions of children being subjected to physical, emotional, and sexual abuse every year. Between the years 2017 and 2020, there were 24 lakh cases of child abuse that were reported, out of which 80% of the victims were girls below the age of 14. The Government of India has implemented several legal measures to protect children from abuse, and these measures are aimed at preventing, detecting, and punishing perpetrators of child abuse. The Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015 defines child abuse as any physical, sexual, emotional, or economic maltreatment of a child. This includes neglect, abandonment, exploitation, and any other form of harmful treatment. Despite the high numbers of reported cases, many cases of child abuse go unreported, and the true extent of problem is likely to be even greater. The effects of child abuse can be devastating, leading to long term physical and mental health problems, as well as social and economic consequences. It is essential that the government and civil society organizations work together to prevent child abuse and support victims. Historically, we have witnessed constructive changes in laws, policies, and recognition of human rights and child rights. The Constitution of India guarantees children's rights. Article 21A guarantees the right to free and compulsory elementary education for all children in the age of group 6 to 14 years. Article 24A secures the right to be protected from any hazardous employment until 14 years. Children have equal rights as all other adult citizens of India, like the right to equality, Article 14, right to personal liberty and the process of law, Article 21, right to be being protected from being trafficked and forced into bonded labor, Article 23. Child protection laws in India are framed in line with constitutional provisions for safeguarding child's rights. Some of the most important legislations and their important provisions include Indian Penal Code 1860 IPC. Section 75 of the code provides for punishment for cruelty to a child, while Section 76 provides for punishment for abetment of suicide of a child. Abandonment of a child below the age of 12 years is dealt under Section 317. Punishment for abandonment is imprisonment up to 7 years or fine or both. Inducing any minor girl to have sexual intercourse with another person is punishable under Section 366A. This crime shall be punishable with imprisonment up to 10 years and a fine. Section 372 and Section 373 of Act penalizes selling or buying minor girls for prostitution and illicit intercourse for any unlawful and immoral purpose with imprisonment under which may extend up to 10 years and a fine. Next one is the Indian Evidence Act 1872 IEA. As per Section 118 of the Indian Evidence Act, all persons, including a child or an aged except a tender year, extreme old age, disease, whether of body or mind, or any other similar cause, are competent to be considered as a witness in the court of law if they are able to understand the questions put to them or able to give rational answers to those questions. Next one is Criminal Procedure Code 1973 CRPC. Also, after the Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013, the punishment for rape of a minor girl has been aggravated under Section 376 of IPC. The punishment for rape of females below 16 years of age shall be minimum rigorous imprisonment of 10 years, which can extend up to life imprisonment. The list of child protection laws passed by Union government includes Children Pledging of Labor Act 1933 CPLA. CPLA prohibits the pledging of the labor of children by the parent and any other person who employs children who have been pledged for labor. Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986 is a law for the protection of children from child labor in India. The act prohibits the employment of children in hazardous occupations and also sets the minimum age for employment in any kind of work. The Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1987 ITPA. The act makes it illegal to procure, transport, or hire a person for the purpose of sexual exploitation or prostitution. This act also makes it illegal to traffic children for any purpose, regardless of their gender. Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006 POCMA. POCMA follows the basic premise First one is to make a child go through marriage is an offense, and second one is child or minor is a person up to 18 years of age in the case of girls and 21 years in the case of boys. Next one is Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. The state were mandated to provide free and compulsory education within 10 years under the right to education. It was earlier a detective principles of state, but now the right to education is acknowledged under the fundamental rights, making it a justiciable right under Article 21A. Right to Education Act 2009, also known as RTE Act, describes modalities of the importance of free and compulsory education for children aged between 6 to 14 years in India. Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, POCSOA, the POSCO, was enacted to address or prevent sexual harassment, exploitation, sexual assault, abuse, pornography, and immoral acts against children. Under the Act, sexual abuse of a child is defined as any act that involves physical contact with the child or causes the child to be in a state of sexual arousal or stimulation. This includes penetrative and non penetrative sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sexual exploitation. Some of its key features are: it is not gender specific and penalizes abetment of child abuse. The Act holds that child is any person below the age of 18 years. It defines different forms of sexual abuse and makes provisions for creating a child friendly atmosphere through all stages of judicial process and avoid re victimization. The Act also provides for strict punishment for the perpetrators of child sexual abuse. The punishment of sexual assault on a child under the age of 12 years is imprisonment for minimum of 20 years, which may extend to life imprisonment. For sexual assault on a child between the age 12 to 18 years, the punishment is imprisonment for a minimum of 10 years, which may extend to life imprisonment. It gives vital importance to the best interest of the child, which can be seen incorporated in the statute as child friendly mechanisms for reporting, recording of evidence, investigations, speedy trials of offences, and in camera trial without revealing the child's identity through designated special courts. It mandates the use of video conferencing for recording the statements of the child victim, thus protecting them from the trauma of appearing in court. Moreover, the law also requires mandatory reporting of child abuse. Any person who has knowledge of child abuse is required to report it to the police or designated child protection agency. Failure to report child abuse is punishable with imprisonment up to 6 months or a fine or both. Next is Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015 JJA. The Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015 is a legislation in India that deals with the treatment of underage offenders. The act, which came into force on January 15, 2016, replaces the previous Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2000. Under the Act, a child is defined as anyone who is below the age of 18 years. JJA classifies the term child into two categories. First one is child in conflict with law, and second is child in need of care and protection. The Act provides for the establishment of juvenile justice boards and child welfare committees to deal with the issues of children in conflict with the law and children in need of care and protection. These bodies are responsible for ensuring that the rights of children are protected and that they are treated in a manner that is conducive to their overall development. The Act also provides for the establishment of special homes and observation homes to provide shelter, care, and protection to children in need. One of the major changes introduced by the Act is the provision for trying certain juveniles between the age of 16 and 18 as adults if they are accused of committing heinous offences. This has been a controversial provision, with some arguing that it goes against the principles of the Act and may lead to discrimination against certain juveniles. The Act prescribes punishment for the various offences against children, such as enhanced punishment for cruelty to children from 6 months to 3 years. The selling or buying of children will be a punishable offence with imprisonment of 5 years. Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Amendment Act 2021 was passed to amend various provisions of the Juvenile Justice Act 2015. The Ministry of Women and Child Development on 31st August 2022 in New Delhi, by notification mentioned in exercise of the powers conferred by subsection 2 of section 1 of the Juvenile Justice Amendment Act 2021. The central government appoints the first day of September 22 as the date on which the Act shall come into force. National Commission for Protection of Child Rights NCPCR has been incorporated under the Ministry of Women and Child Development by the central government to regulate all laws and programs with a child centric approach. The Commission can also take suo motu cognizance for violation of child rights. CWC Child Welfare Community. The Child Welfare Community CWC has been formed under the Women and Child Development Department to tend the children in need of care and protection. The committee is to be informed about any child abuse within 24 hours by the police officer. Then a person is appointed to support the child and be responsible for the psychosocial well-being of the child. The CWC person will keep the child's family updated about the case. Any reporting of the child abuse can be done by dialing the toll free number 1098. Despite several Child Protection Acts, we still witness various forms of child rights being violated, including denial and inability to access the right to food, right to education, right to health, and right against exploitation. There are extensive laws to protect children, and child protection is increasingly accepted as the core component of social development.